Good evening and welcome to Skinny's Sports Bar and Grill, located at the corner of Huntoon and Gage here in the capital city of Kansas. For the next hour, we'll be talking nothing but Washburn basketball and maybe some other shenanigans here along the way here on this edition of the Washburn Coaches Show, live from Skinny's Sports Bar and Grill. Again, coming out to Skinny's Wednesday evening is the dinner special here on Wednesdays, the food special. Cheeseburger and fries or tots. I am Team Tots. We all know that. Just $5. You can't beat that every single Wednesday here at Skinny's. And that is the same lunch special. $5 cheeseburger and fries every single lunch special from 11 until 2. You cannot beat it here at Skinny's Sports Bar and Grill. We'll be talking all things Washburn men's basketball coming up at the bottom of the hour. So part 2 will be head coach Brett Ballard of the Washburn men's basketball team. But before we get to the men's basketball team, we will discuss all things Washburn women's basketball, as the Washburn men and women will be on the road on Saturday, heading down to Claremore, Oklahoma to take on the Hillcats of Rogers State. And that will be coming up 1:30, 3:30 tip-offs from Rogers State and Claremore, Oklahoma. The Washburn men and women don't play a midweek game this week because it is finals during this week. Yes, even though there is a pandemic and pretty much nobody's allowed to do anything and everybody's virtual, you still have to do class. You still got to take finals. So no midweek game this week here at the Washburn Athletic and Washburn University. But filling in for head coach Ron McHenry is assistant coach Erica Yoder, formerly Erica Lane, terrific basketball player for the Washburn women and terrific dual sport athlete for the Washburn Rural Lady Blues. You went from a Lady Blue to, were you an Ichabod, or did they change the name at that point in time?
I was only an Ichabod, never a Lady Blue.
So you were never a Lady Blue, but you were a Lady Blue in high school. So
Yep.
Lady Blue in high school, Ichabod for the Washburn basketball team. Eric Lane, the assistant coach, joining us and filling in for Ron McHenry. So let me guess, Ron McHenry said, whoa, I can't make it. I got to go to the bullpen. Erica, can you help me out? So is that kind of how it went down?
Yeah, pretty much.
When you look at kind of what is going on right now as an assistant coach, we've gotten Ron McHenry's thoughts on all of this with the COVID-19 and the season coming up. How has it been as an assistant coach? Because you're the JV head coach as well, not this year. No JV season, obviously, for circumstances that we're all dealing with right now. But how much different is it for you right now in this wild, conference only, starting up at, essentially 2 weeks before Thanksgiving in this basketball season?
Yeah, I just think it's a lot different because of the practice time. I mean, we still could practice, but the games going up to it, I mean, the MIAA is no joke. We saw an example of that last night. And so to not have those preseason games, it just made a huge difference in our preparation. I mean, we're going in with basically all new kids this year and trying to get them prepared for what the MIAA brings. And so we just felt like as assistants, we were really watching a lot of film earlier on than we ever have, just to try to get our new kids and maybe our young kids or the ones that didn't play a lot last year ready and comfortable for the season. Whereas normally they would be in those game situations, but now you were just kind of thrown in right away.
As a former player, how important is that non-conference month of November and part of December? You always played a couple games against the MIAA schools at the very beginning of December. And then you go on a trip maybe in mid-December, or sometimes it's over Thanksgiving. But how important is it to play those two games, in early November, where you go down to Pitt State or you go down to Kansas City, you play them, and then you play, another like Rockhurst, and then you play 3 NAIA schools, and then you got your Thanksgiving tournament where you play a couple teams, and then you go on a trip, and then you play MIAA play. How big is that you didn't have that this year?
Oh, it's huge. I mean, chemistry is big in basketball. There's not just one player on the floor. There's 5, and, at times you're going to get a new 5 in. And so the chemistry of your team is where you kind of hash out all of those things and roles. I mean, roles are important too. We didn't really know who was going to play what role for us. And so those early on games are really who you're trying to find your identity as a team. And that was something that, like you said, we didn't have this year. And so instead of using those games to really find out your team's identity, you're trying to find it from the first game of the season against the top teams in the country. And so that makes, it makes a huge difference. And just with our team, again, being younger than we've been, in recent years, that also makes a big difference for them as well.
The fact that, again, as you mentioned, how young you are, like if this were last year's team where you've got veteran in Phelan, a veteran in McAfee, a veteran in Haley Thompson, a veteran Castaneda, maybe it wouldn't be that big of a deal. But when you've got, freshmen in Aubry Dewey, and she's had a terrific start to this season, a freshman in Lauren Cassidy, Abby Oliver, only got in a few 12 games last year because of injury. Same thing with Macy Debley. I mean, it almost doubles for you guys this year.
Yeah, it does. And that's also big. They're all great kids. They're all great competitors, and we love this group, and we feel like they can do a lot with this season. But we're just seeing inexperience in certain situations, and we knew that, so we're excited to grow from that. But it makes a big difference when, you had those veterans coming back. They knew their role and their teammates knew their role. So now with these new kids, we're trying to figure out who fits in what role.
We're talking with Erica Yoder, the assistant coach for the Washburn women's basketball team, filling in for the head coach, Ron McHenry. The Washburn women on the year 1-3. They're taking on Rogers State coming up on Saturday, 1:30 tip-off from Claremore, Oklahoma. And we'll get to a little bit more when it comes to the game against Central Oklahoma. Big win against a really good Central Oklahoma team. Fall to the Newman Jets late in the game on the Saturday at Lee Arena. But this is one thing that when I have assistant coach Brett Herber on, she played for Ron McHenry. As an assistant coach, players can come to you with a little different vibe, with a little different maybe opinion, and it's not the head coach. And you played for Ron McHenry. And I think if you played for the coach that is currently coaching, you know what they're about. You know what they like, what they dislike. You know the offense. I mean, you've been around regular that you could run regular in your
through my sleep.
Through your sleep. You know what I mean? So as an assistant coach who's played for the head coach, what do you try to talk to, especially the younger players, the Aubry Deweys and the Cassidys and the Shefrecks and even Macy, who's in her second year, and Abby, who's in her second year, even a first-year player like Nuria, who is coming in as a transfer? What do you try to tell them that maybe doesn't get said because it's close quarters? You and the player having a, just a simple one-on-one, or you're at practice and you're shooting free throws and you're underneath the basket and she's right next to you, and you're able to talk about, hey, kind of the game and their frustrations and their happiness. I mean, how much do you think that helps?
Oh, I think it's huge. Like you said, Coach Brett and I have played for him and now coached for him for a while. And so we really know what he's wanting out of players. And terminology, again, we're talking kind of a lot of young kids today mainly, but terminology is big. When you're trying to learn the college level game and you have all these new terms about what kind of screens, how they're defending on balls, and they're not sure of that. And, being competitive, Coach McHenry might just really want that right away. And so we feel as though our job is to be like, hey, this is what we're wanting. This is kind of what he's saying. This is what that terminology means. And every coach's terminology can be different too.
It took me a long time to realize an on ball is a pick and roll.
Yes.
I don't know why he says on ball. And Ron, if you're listening, it took me a little bit longer than I'd like to admit. But the word, when he says, we got to work on our on balls. Some people are like, oh, okay, I'm on the ball. No, it's a pick and roll. That's what it is. Our on-ball screens are just, he doesn't even say screen. He just says the on-ball.
Right.
That's what I'm assuming you're referring to.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's where kind of we were talking about how Central Oklahoma game preparations, they usually ice on balls, which means they're going to force you away to the on ball and then they have their post off. Well, that's very different. They're going to force you baseline. Most people force you into the screen. And so when we were talking about, hey, UCO is going to ice on balls, some of our freshmen just kind of looked at us like, I don't know what I see. Yeah, like what does this mean?
What are we doing here?
And so that's where we know his terminology, and we can help them and really understand what works too, because we've played in that system. And so maybe what we're seeing and what we did as players as well, we thought worked or maybe didn't work. And so we can really help coach them to what we think would work in that system.
You're also a counselor. where someone
Yeah.
says, Coach, what do I got to do in this situation? Because sometimes you just feel more comfortable talking to an assistant coach
Right.
than you do the head coach. And and head coaches know that too. Like Ron McHenry's not a dummy. He knows that, hey, they're going to come talk to Brett or they're going to come talk to you. And you're also kind of that, the counselor aspect of it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you get to know these kids when you're recruiting them. And so then you just continually get to build that relationship and it's so much fun. And so when they come to you, maybe, they're frustrated. You've built that relationship with them. And so you can really understand how to help them best because each kid's going to be different with how they're going to handle certain situations, pressure situations, how they're going to handle frustration. I mean, especially right now with COVID, you're dealing with a lot of, just mental exhaustion in different ways than you ever have before. And so that's where I feel like Brett and I, we're just really trying to make sure that these girls are doing okay, handling their classes, just the mental aspect of what COVID brings into the situation. And then you have basketball. So they have a lot going on. And that's where we feel like, we do a nice job of just trying to help them through this and get them to be where we think they can be.
We're talking with assistant coach Erica Yoder, the Washburn women's basketball team here at Skinny's Sports Bar and Grill. Coming out to Skinny's again, the special on Wednesdays, $5 cheeseburger and fries from 5 to 9. But also, that is the special during the lunch period. Again, 11 to 2, Monday through Friday, just $5 cheeseburger and fries. And again, coming up on Sunday, the Chiefs are in action. Take on the Miami Dolphins. Anytime the Chiefs are playing, great food and drink specials here at Skinny's. All the TVs are on. They even have the broadcast of the Chiefs Radio Network blasted through the speakers. So, again, come on out here to Skinny's Sports Bar and Grill. You mentioned something that one of my friends is an assistant coach, and they are having a hard time going to games. The new mandate that Keisha now is allowed 2 family members per player or per participant. Are you able to go to games? Are you able to get in there? Or are they not? Since you're not a family member, are you not allowed to go recruit in person right now?
Right.
Because when you mentioned recruiting and building relationships, that kind of popped up. Are you allowed to do that? Like a game on Friday? I know you guys are leaving on Friday night, but there's games every single night this week. Are you able to go to a game in person?
Yeah, so Kansas, as of right now, we are not. Missouri, we could if we wanted to. Their regulations are different. And again, counties are going to be different too. But in Kansas, as of right now, we cannot go watch games. So we've had all of our recruits send us a link, and most high schools right now are using the same link. So that's really how we've been watching their games. So it's another twist in this, but it's not something we really haven't been doing, to be honest, because there weren't a lot of games that we could go to this summer for AAU ball. So we were having to watch online streams, which is not very fun when girls wear their hair down and you're trying to find their number.
Oh, trust me, I know what you're going through.
And so
I know what you're going through.
You can't see their number. And so then we're just like racking our brains. We're like, okay, I think that's her, but her hair's in her way. So is that her? And then you have the fruit, like it'll freeze. So that's kind of what we're doing right now with high schools as well, until potentially we might be able to go in this new semester. It's kind of up in the air. We'll just have to find out.
Here's a little tip for you, a little radio tip that I use sometimes, because especially if the girls all wear their hair the same way and it covers the number and they're all blonde and it covers the number. Here's the thing. Ask them to wear like a specific color sock.
Ooh.
Or what color shoes do you have? If they've got like, red shoes and everybody else is wearing white or something of that nature. So that way you can pick them out on the video. That's how I sometimes do calling basketball games. Because again, if it's a team that I don't really know that well,
yeah, it's hard.
It's kind of hard. Yeah. Or say, you know what, if you have a bracelet, I don't know if they're allowed to wear bracelets. Because some people are, but that type of thing. So shoes, socks, anything like that. Do you have a knee brace that you wear, or something? Do you have a shooting sleeve? That way you can kind of pick them out.
Yeah,
a little tip there.
That's good. I'll remember that one for sure.
Tell Coach Herber and tell Ronnie Mack you're welcome.
I will. Straight from Jake.
And the check will be in the mail. Or my bill, I guess, will be in the mail to Washburn University. Lauren Frey, don't forget to spell my name right. We're talking with Eric Yoder, the assistant coach, and let's get to one other aspect before a little basketball. You guys were in quarantine for 14 days before the season. So not only do you You're not able to practice for 14 days up until I believe it was 4 days before the game supposed to be the game against Fort Hays State. I mean, that's almost as bad as missing a game, because that final, 10 days of prep, and again, it's not just like 3 or 4 practices. You're missing 14 practices, essentially. That also kind of puts you guys behind the 8 ball a little bit.
Yeah, that was a very much a trial and error situation. We had scrimmaged, and so then someone we had scrimmaged with tested positive, and so we were all put into quarantine. And we learned a lot from that, honestly, because we realized how we were going to have to adjust our practices in order to potentially not go into quarantine as much. So while it was very frustrating, it helped us, and we're glad we did it before the season rather than, we could go back in, of course, there's always that possibility. But we just felt like we learned how to adjust and help our girls, because that is tough. And we also learned how to best help our girls keep in shape over quarantine, because that's 14 days of, hey, we're not telling you to get in the, in the weight room.
If you live in an apartment complex, I'm going to need you to
Yes.
run up and down the stairs a whole bunch.
And we literally, you have to be creative with things like that. We had to have them, go on campus runs, but they could only go by themselves with no one else around. So it was just like it's all very interesting. But again, we learned a lot. But and then Hayes, of course, had to postpone. And so, then you're not only dealing with the physical aspect of, hey, we're not practicing for 14 days. Then you have to deal with the mental aspect of, okay, am I game ready? Am I prepared? I know I've worked up to this point, but now I'm set back 2 weeks. And then the game got postponed again. So it was just kind of, this mental back and forth of, okay, I'm ready. Okay, maybe I'm not ready. Okay, yes, I am ready. So again, we learned how to best handle that as well, because we know we're realistic that it could probably happen again. But it's just tough. And it was tough on the girls. And so, yeah, just like I said, we really learned how to adjust our practices. And some days we bubble practice so that we can limit maybe the number that go into quarantine.
For contact tracing.
Yep. And so, it's just this whole new idea of this whole bubbling thing that we had never even heard of that term. And then we were like, oh, yeah, bubble practices. Of course, everyone knows what that is now. And before this season, you're just like, what are you, bubble practice? What would that even mean? So just a lot of adjustments happening pretty much on a daily basis.
We're talking with Erica Yoder, the assistant coach for the Washburn women's basketball team. We'll discuss the win against Central Oklahoma, a terrific victory over the Broncos when they took care of business 80-70. We'll also get into the game against the Newman Jets. They fell at the very end, but some strong play from some veterans and a couple strong efforts from some freshmen early on as well. We will get to all of that. This is the Washburn Coach Show live from Skinny Sports Bar and Grill here on your home for Washburn Athletics Country 106.9.
There's nothing more difficult than watching a child struggle. I'm Kirk Williams with Legacy Restaurant Group, owners and operators of the Wendy's restaurants in Topeka. In addition to our year-round support for foster care adoption, we are partnering with Kansas Children's Service League in Topeka for our Giving Back program this year. KCSL knows that children do better when their parents are doing well. Their vision is that every child is raised in a loving family and lives in a safe, nurturing community. This year, we celebrate 13 years of our Wendy's Giving Back campaign. Each holiday season, with your help, our Wendy's Topeka restaurants donate to an organization like Kansas Children's Service League. This year, we celebrate 13 years of our Wendy's Giving Back campaign. Each holiday season, with your help, our Wendy's Topeka restaurants donate to an organization like Kansas Children's Service League. After meeting with them, we learned that they serve nearly 5,000 area children from birth to age 18 and nearly 40,000 children and caregivers across the state every year. Each time you dine in at a Topeka Wendy's during the first 2 weeks of December, we are committed to donating a minimum of $6,000 to Kansas Children's Service League. From all of us at Wendy's, thank you for helping with our 13th annual Giving Back campaign, and have a Merry Christmas.
Get your chance to win a beautiful truck and help out the underprivileged youth of Shawnee County. The 2030 Club will be raffling off a 2020 Ford F-150 King Ranch fully loaded truck. Entries close on June 29th, 2021, so buy your ticket now. With your help, we will keep putting coats on kids and supplying food for the hungry. For more details and to purchase tickets for the gala, visit 2030gala.org.
Visit the Territorial Capitol Museum in Lecompton, Kansas to see the largest indoor display of 170 Christmas trees, decorated Victorian, antique, vintage, collectible, themed ornaments, and garland. The most unusual display in the Midwest, providing an opportunity to relive a visitor's past. Monday through Saturday, 10 to 4, Sunday, 1 to 5, closed Christmas Day and New Year's Day. 170 Christmas trees at the Territorial Capitol Museum in Lecompton, Kansas. Enjoy local eateries and businesses when in the historic community. Details and to book group tours, call 785-887-6148.
KTPK Topeka, Country 106.9.
Welcome back to Skinny Sports Bar and Grill, located at the corner of Huntoon and Gage here in the capital city of Kansas. Jake Levon, along with the assistant coach of the Washburn women's basketball team, Erica Yoder, joining us as she is filling in for Ron McHenry on this Washburn Coaches Show. The Washburn women 1-3 on the season, coming off a loss to the Newman Jets, and they fall 56-52. Coming off also a win against Central Oklahoma, and discussing the win against Central Oklahoma first and foremost, Erica, and that's a big win because Central Oklahoma, I think, has a chance to finish near the top of the league. Early on, they got you, and then in the third quarter and fourth quarter, offensively, you put up maybe the best half of the season, 47 points. What seemed to click in the game against Central Oklahoma, especially that second half?
Yeah, so in our Fort Hays game, we were a little disappointed in our relentlessness to get 50-50 balls. We just felt like we were getting out hustled in late game situations. And so that was really an emphasis that we had put in this game, knowing the firepower that UCO has. I mean, they have probably the best post in Division II. She's a stud. And so we knew that we were just going to have to do the dirty work, especially well. And I thought that's what we did. We rebounded well. We went after every 50-50 ball. We did a nice job with sharing the ball. I mean, we had 4 girls in double digits that game. And so I think that was huge of how you were going to share the ball, just the effort that was given and the drive and how we were determined to win. And so I think that was also huge in the Fort Hays game. We were playing maybe not to lose. And then in UCO, we were playing to win. And so I think that was a big win for us. And that's a great team. And so we were really glad that we could just show, we talked about earlier, not having those preseason games to work up to that point. So we were just really proud of the girls and excited to see, the potential that this team has so early on.
It helps when Hunter Bentley goes for 19 and 15 and then Nuria goes for 21 and 11. That is a duo right now where you almost kind of need and expect that from those two veteran players. Yeah,
Hunter is just a tremendous athlete, tremendous kid overall, but she's been really stepping up, and we've asked her to fill a very big role this year, and she's been doing it really well, and she's kind of embraced that.
And she's playing a completely different position. She's playing the 2 right now.
And last year she was a very undersized 4. But Hunter, the thing about Hunter is she's just very IQ smart. She's very basketball IQ. So we always ask a big role for her. I mean, we're always putting her on the other team's best player, unless they're, of course, Kelsey Johnson, and you're 6'3". But, we're always asking her to guard the best player, to set up people for shots, to also take the ball down the floor if they're going to guard our point guard. So it's just a very big role and a different role for her, but she's doing really well. And then, of course, Nuria. Nuria's been a great addition for us. She is probably one of the best downhill players of getting to the basket that I've seen in a long time for us. And so she just also brings that presence of, okay, if everyone's going to collapse in on her, then our shooters are open. And that's why she's also having so many assists every game, because she's getting to the basket and then everyone's kind of drawing that attention to her. So she's really good at finding shooters and finding open kids. And so the unselfishness of those two is huge for us.
The Washburn Ichabods 1-3 on the season, and you fall to the Newman Jets 56-52. And it kind of says you led for the majority of the game, and at the end you just couldn't put the ball in the hoop. Against Hays, didn't score the last 5 minutes. Against Newman, didn't score the last 3 minutes, and they hit their free throws. That was a huge difference in the game. But when you look back at that game, what is the big takeaway to try to change the end of the game that's now happened twice?
Yeah, I think what I said earlier about we were playing not to lose and instead of playing to win. And there is a very big difference when you're playing like that. We just played a little timid. We weren't confident in what we were doing. And they threw a zone in on us, which was big. I mean, we hadn't seen a zone like that. And, you know, in those early games, usually when we play out of conference, a lot of out of conference schools play zone. And so usually, you know, in those preseason games, you're seeing what you might see later on in the conference. And we hadn't seen a zone, and it did cause us some problems. But, you know, we just got really nervous and a little bit timid at the end. And I think that was the biggest thing. We're in UCO. We were very confident in what we were doing. We were confident in our teammates. And so really just moving forward, we need to have that killer instinct of, hey, no, we are good. We are expected to win this game, no matter our age. We are ready to win. And so I think that's the mentality that I hope we bring. And we've been trying to instill in them in finals week is, hey, we are very good. We just need to finish a game.
The one other freshman that I want to discuss, a couple of them, but the 5'7" freshman out of Plainville, Aubry Dewey, coming out 14 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists. Those 14 points against Newman, a new career high for her. She's had double figures in every game but one. She's so quick with the basketball. Her pull-up jumper game, which is not even a thing anymore, but boy, every time she drives in, pulls up at the free throw line, she shoots it, it goes in. I have been very impressed with the 5'7" freshman Aubry Dewey. And Ron McHenry said, you know, I'm thinking about starting a freshman this year at point guard, but boy, this one can really get up and down the court.
Yeah, she is extremely talented in what she does. And I remember another freshman that he was going to start my senior year, and I was like, are you sure you're going to start a freshman? And there's Reagan Phelan. And I see nothing less for Aubry Dewey and how well she's been playing. And the thing about Aubry that I really just love, I love coaching her because she wants to be good. I mean, she wants to have a team that is successful. And so we've been actually meeting. We have point guard meetings every week, and I meet with her and we go over things, especially with her being a freshman point guard. Really trying to get her to understand kind of, you know, just the pace and everything, which she doesn't have a problem with pace. It's more of getting her to slow down in certain situations. But I love that about her, that she wants to get better. So if I ever forget to schedule a meeting, Aubry's texting me, hey, what time are we meeting this week? And I'm like, hey, I love that. Like, I love that mentality of, no, I need to get better. I want to get better for this team. And I think that's why we're going to have, you know, a lot of success this year and then even in the future with her as our point guard.
We're talking with Erica Yoder, again, formerly Erica Lane, 3-year starter for the Washburn basketball team, the assistant coach to Ron McHenry, as well as assistant coach Brett Herber, as she is filling in for head coach Ron McHenry. The Washburn women taking on Rogers State, 1:30 on Saturday. I'm assuming you guys are leaving Friday night because it's about a 3.5-hour drive. Plus, it's a 1:30 tip-off. Maybe if it was a 5 and 7 o'clock tip-off, you might not leave the night before. But with a 1:30 tip-off from Rogers, and you're playing in a giant 4-H building, so that's always kind of interesting. But Rogers, a lot of players back from last year. You add in a couple players, and this is a team that, let's be honest, they were terrible last year. I mean, you got to call it like it is. They went 2-17 in conference. They're not going to go 2-17 in conference this year. They've improved a lot, added a couple pieces. This is a pretty good ball club.
Yeah, they're very talented. And, you know, really the thing about the MIAA is you don't ever have a night off. It's a tough league from top to bottom. And so no matter what they did last year, while it is very similar team this year, they have competed completely different. They have a transfer who's averaging 20 points for them. They have the point guard is averaging 20. Post player that they brought in is also averaging, I think, 14. And then they know what they want to do, right? Last year, they were kind of in the same situation. They were newer, had, I think, a new coaching staff. So now they're really getting into that groove of what they want to do. And they just beat a very talented Pitt team a couple of days ago or a couple of games ago. And so, I mean, we're going to have to be ready. And that's kind of the thing also with a younger crew. You also have to teach them, hey, there are no nights off in the MIAA. And so we really just need to prepare for a very talented group that we're going to face in their home building.
All righty, what's going to be now, I would say, again, I'm dating myself, what movies would be on the bus tomorrow on Friday. Actually, on Friday, not tomorrow. Today's Wednesday. On Friday. But now you get satellite TV, so you can watch anything. So what do you guys do on the bus?
Well, so it even kind of dates me from when I played, but they don't even watch movies now, and they don't even watch anything because they're all watching YouTube on their phones. And so we don't watch anything anymore. It's just kind of like quiet, and all the girls are back there. They do play Heads Up a lot on the bus. They love the game where you have the thing, and then we always know when they're playing that because the bus gets really loud and they love it. But yeah, most of the time they're watching stuff on their phones, which is fine. And then if we can ever get the boys' game on the way home, that's actually usually what we watch. If we have like Wi-Fi on the bus, then we'll plug an HDMI into a laptop and we'll stream the guys' game.
How about
usually.
that?
Yeah.
There we go.
So, but our buses this year, I don't think we've had Wi-Fi, so it's been kind of hit or miss if we can do anything on there.
Things change every single year.
Yes.
Well, Erica, we appreciate the time. Thanks for pinch hitting for head coach Ron McHenry. Best of luck against the Hillcats coming up Saturday.
Yep, thanks for having me.
That is the assistant coach, Erica Yoder, formerly Erica Lane. See, I did that entire 30 minutes without butchering calling her Erica Lane when I've called her basketball games for the Washburn women. But the Washburn women in action coming up on Saturday. 1:30 tip-off, 1:15 pregame coverage. Coming up next here from Skinny Sports Bar and Grill, we'll talk with the head coach of the 17th-ranked Washburn Ichabods. Head coach Brett Ballard joins us next year on your home for Washburn Athletics, Country 106.9.
Wife Tammy dishes the mobile phone. Husband Gary uses his pivot foot, goes behind the back for that easy mobile deposit. That's money in the bank. Jody runs point, gets the green light, and takes the inside lane for a drive-through business deposit. No one can stop money in the bank. Johnny's coming off the bench, uses that True Blue debit card at the ATM. Easy layup with that check deposit for what? Money in the bank. Whether you're dropping dimes, going downtown, or just need one-on-one, Capital Federal will always help you put money in the bank. Capital Federal, Equal Housing Lender, member FDIC.
Join us for the 23rd annual Winter Wonderland, November 25th to New Year's Eve from 6 to 10 p.m. For more information, visit any Alpha Media Station website.
Brighten the season with sparkly nights. Winter Wonderland. It's a celebration of life. Winter Wonderland. A benefit for Tark.
Sales are rising quickly, but without another lead baker, Dale's Bakery is going to feel the heat.
Hey, you're baking alone today. I have to handle this order for the restaurant down the street. Cool, but who's going to handle the pastries?
He needs to hire.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. The moment you sponsor a job on Indeed, you get a short list of quality candidates from our resume database. Indeed delivers 2.5 times more hires than the other branded job sites combined, according to Breezy HR 2019. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get a $75 credit for your first job post. Terms and conditions apply.
You can spread love, good cheer, and some joy this Christmas season, but you don't want to spread a deadly virus that's impacting families across our state. We need your help to stop the spread of COVID-19 in Kansas. Get a free test at one of over 100 sites statewide. It's quick, convenient, and free. Getting a test is the best way to protect your family, friends, and coworkers. And it's a great way to show the people you love that you care. Schedule a free test at gogettested.com/Kansas. Stop the spread. It's up to us, Kansas.
KTPK Topeka, Country 106.9.
Welcome back to Skinny Sports Bar and Grill, located at the corner of Huntoon Gage here in the capital city of Kansas. Again, come on by to Skinny's. Again, the Chiefs game coming up on Sunday against the Dolphins will be broadcast on every one of the TVs, socially distanced. Everything will be good. Great food, great drink specials here at Skinny Sports Bar and Grill. And currently right now at Skinny's on Wednesdays, it is their cheeseburger and fries for $5. That is also their lunch special from 11 until 2, Monday through Friday. $5 cheeseburger and fries, or you can get tots. I'm a tot man. We know Ron McHenry is a fry man. So let's find out what the head coach of the Washburn men's basketball team, the 17th ranked Washburn men's basketball team, Brett Ballard. Brett, all righty. Fries or tots, my man?
I like both.
So you're going Switzerland. All right.
I'm conflicted. I'm actually conflicted a little bit about the Chiefs game Sunday because before the season, I told my boys that I feel like, I've always been a Chiefs fan, a Royals fan, and didn't really have an NBA team, just kind of a Michael Jordan fan. And I know all these people that have two teams they cheer for. They cheer for like the local team, but then they, some reason have an affiliation with another team. And
interesting.
Like a lot of people I know, like they have kind of two teams that
I have one team per sport.
But I know a lot of people that have two. So I told them before the season, I said, I think I might hop on the Dolphins bandwagon because I like Tua.
Okay.
And just randomly joking. I'm not really, I don't really care.
No, but I get your point. You like the player, so you want the player to do well.
Yeah, so I was like, maybe I'll just kind of be a closet Dolphins fan. They've been bad forever. Who knows if they're going to be good. But anyway, so every time they've been kind of winning, so I joke with the boys, see my team, my fans are winning. And then when I was joking with them the other day, I said, man, I'm conflicted. The Chiefs are playing my second team. And it's kind of like fries and tots, Jake. I don't know.
Okay.
I'd probably go fries a little bit over tots, but I take both, and you can't go wrong at Skinnies.
Well, you can't go wrong with the Washburn Ichabods, undefeated at 4-0 right now, ranked 17th in the nation, coming off of wins. Since the last time we've talked to you, you took care of business against Central Oklahoma, winning 81-71. That's a great win. Central Oklahoma, I think, is going to be pretty good. You also get the victory over the Central Oklahoma on Monday. Yep. Thursday, you lost to KU. See, all the games scattered together. It kind of got confused with all that. And then Saturday,
We've been playing a lot.
You take care of Newman, and now you gear up for the game against Rogers State. But, boy, you're playing some great basketball. You beat Newman by 39. You're up by 43. I mean, it almost seems like this team hasn't missed a beat this year.
Yeah, I thought those first couple out of the gate, we had to knock some rust off, just coming into the season. Last week, I thought we were really good in our two conference games. I thought the UCO win was one of the better wins we've had since I've been here, to be honest with you, because I just think – I know the record doesn't indicate it yet, but I'm telling you on film, I really think they've got a nice team, and they played well that day. We played well that day, and that it was kind of a back and forth game. And I love the poise and toughness we played with the last 5 minutes of the game. And then, Saturday was one of those games where against Newman, we kind of got out of hand, and we played well. They obviously didn't have one of their better games, and things kind of fell our way. But we were pretty crisp in that game, offensively and defensively, pretty locked in. And it was good because we were able to get a lot of guys in, especially late in the game.
We're talking with head coach Fred Ballard of the Washburn men's basketball team. As the Washburn men's basketball team 4-0 on the season, ranked 17th in the country. And the Ichabods will be gearing up to take on Rogers State. And we'll get into the Rogers State game in just a little bit. But the Ichabods, again, playing some really, really good basketball right now. And I got to bring this up because it's been the talk of the town for Division II. Fort Hays State beats the Kansas State Wildcats. You guys play in the same conference office. You beat Fort Hays State. When you does that give you kind of a little bit of a D2 point of pride in that type of situation? And does that also work as a little coaching aspect that, hey, you know what? We're Division II, but that doesn't mean we're chopped liver. We can hang with a lot of people if we play our game, play well. Does that kind of get brought up with you guys and kind of just the Division II brethren?
Yeah, for sure. Well, first off, before I was an Ichabod, I was a Jayhawk. Mm-hmm. So you know how I felt about that game,
yes.
Regardless. But a couple reasons I think that, it's a point of pride for us, even though, we're at Washburn. One, we talk all the time about how good the MIAA is. And, that team, Fort Hays, hasn't won a game yet in our league. And they're good. I mean, they're a good, solid team. They're and going to get better. And I think that shows you the fact that they can go in and beat a Division I school and haven't been able to win a game in our league. I think that shows you how good our league is. Another reason that I was, happy last night, Todd Johnston, who was acting as the head coach, is their assistant coach, but acting as the head coach last night because Mark Johnson, their head coach, was out with COVID. Todd played for me at Baker. I recruited him to Baker, and he played for me at Baker for a year, and is a great kid and not a kid anymore, a great young man. And so I was happy for him. But for sure, I think as a Division II as a whole too, you kind of, you have a little bit of a chip on your shoulder because a lot of the kids we recruit, Jake, I bet you 80% of the kids we recruit have Division I offers or are, strongly considering going D1. And so we battle, the image of, how good our league is and trying to convince kids that, listen, you're a good player. And yeah, you might have a chance to go D1, but a lot of these low major D1s, would struggle, or not necessarily struggle, but wouldn't necessarily dominate in MIAA. So, I think it helps us a little bit from an image standpoint. Obviously, it's one of those things. K-State obviously just didn't have a ton of energy at all, and they'll. I'm not saying they're going to be great, but that was just one of those games. They just had no juice.
Is that something that you point to as well? Is like, look, you can get beat by anybody if you don't come and bring it with the energy and, as you say, the juice.
Yeah, I talk about that with our team all the time. I'll use examples in college football, NBA, whatever, throughout the year. Hey, look at what happened this week, guys. So-and-so got beat. And clearly they're more talented, more athletic, blah, 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 blah. But, when you don't come out and play hard in any sport, it's hard. But in our league especially, good teams and good coaches. And, one of those deals where last night, kind of a shocker, but happy for our league.
We're talking with head coach Brett Ballard of the Washburn Ichabod's here at Skinny Sports Bar and Grill. Don't forget, and again, this is something that we have been promoting here at Alpha Media Speak here in Country 106.9. Winter Wonderland. I don't know if you've ever had a chance to go through it, but again, Winter Wonderland open every night from 6 to 10 at Lake Shawnee. You can drive through. It's an amazing light display. Do it every single year. It changes up a little bit. And again, donations to go through it. It's fantastic. Winter Wonderland. Again, it's a great benefit for TARC. And again, a lot of our stations, including our sister stations, 580 WIBW, the big 94.5 Country, Jack FM here in the capital city. Again, head on to Winter Wonderland in Lake Shawnee. And it's a short little drive for me. It's great. Have you been to the Winter Wonderland?
You know what? My wife just mentioned that to me the other night. We got a chance to go to the Topeka Zoo lights, and that was incredible.
That was really cool.
Yeah. You get a chance to check that out too. But she actually just mentioned, she said, hey, did you know there's a light show at Lake Shawnee? And we've been kind of lucky. In Tulsa and in Winston-Salem, there were some light shows, and we didn't realize that was out there. So, or we hadn't been there. We talked about it, just hadn't been there. But we're planning on going this year. I know our kids would love it, and sounds like a good opportunity for families to go see some lights and raise money for a good cause.
Mark Johnson didn't coach. So, head coach Brett Ballard, you might not coach a game this year. I hope not. I hope that doesn't happen. But because you are a very detailed man. And for those of you listening right now and watching as well on Facebook.com, Brett Ballard has the cleanest office that I've ever been in. He is meticulous with details. He is a very organized individual. I wish I was as organized as you, Brett. So you have obviously thought this through because you go through every single situation. So Mark Johnson didn't coach in the game last night again for Fort Hays State. What happens if you can't coach in the game? What goes on?
Well, I love my staff, and Jordan Banks has been with us now 3 years, and it's been fun to watch him. He was good when we got him, but just continue to grow and get better. He was always good with recruiting and talking to the guys, but scouting and practice and everything. He's taken big steps, and then hired Jonathan Rainey this year, and he stepped right in and filled some big shoes, that were left behind from Matt Hundley and Joe Ballesteri before him. So I really like my staff, and both of those guys have played at a high level, and both of those guys are experienced. What we would do is, Jonathan has head coaching experience.
Mm-hmm.
Jordan's getting really close to being ready to be a head coach, really, really close. Whoever had that scout that night would probably act as the head coach.
Okay.
So whoever had the scout, because that guy's just a little more prepared,
plugged
for
into that team. That makes sense.
And so because both of those guys are experienced, I don't really have a head assistant. I never necessarily believed in that. I kind of consider both of those guys as, people get titles all the time. They hand them out like hotcakes, but associate head coach or whatever you want to call them, I feel like both those guys bring value to our program in a lot of ways. So we would probably, we've talked about it, and obviously we'd have to decide 100% if it actually happened, but we would probably have whoever had the scout be the head coach that night.
So right now, positive test. When did you guys test for COVID this week?
We tested on Tuesday, and so far so good.
So good to go. Today's Wednesday. Do we get the results back? That eerie, creepy kind of the high intense moment?
No news from our trainer is good news.
There we go. Awesome.
I think we're on the right track to play.
Well, the Ichabods again ranked 17th in the country, 4-0 on the season. And let's get to some basketball. Individually against the Newman Jets, you guys win 100-61. This offense is putting up 83 points per game. That is a boatload of points in the MIAA because, again, in the MIAA, everybody knows everybody. You know the tendencies about everybody, but you're putting up 83 points per game. You put up 100. What's been the biggest reason for the offense clicking, maybe at a time that many people don't think so?
Yeah, I think that sometimes that starts with your defense. I think we're getting quite a few stops, which allows us to get out on transition. So I think we've had a steady diet of transition points. Usually if you're going to score, at a high level, you probably need to get some points in transition. We've been able to do that. And then, I think it starts with Tyler Guyman. We've got an elite point guard, and he does a great job of setting guys up, facilitating. He's scoring on his own as well. But I just think, when you have a point guard that can get you into your stuff, can get the ball where it needs to go, is delivering, is attacking off ball screens, I think that's been positive for us. And then, I think we're a team that's it's almost old school now, Jake, but we play inside out still a little bit and can play through when we've been efficient offensively. It seems like we're able to play through Johnny Klossing at times and get some easy baskets around the rim with him. But then also what he does is he draws a lot of attention, and Jace as well. And I think that has opened up some things for our shooters. We've got guys that can shoot it. I feel like we're going to shoot it at a pretty high level this year.
You're shooting at a high level right
we
now,
are.
44%
we
as a
are.
team.
And I think that I honestly think we took some marginal shots the first game against Hayes. Since then, I think we've cleaned that up after watching some film. I believe that this team will shoot. I don't know if we'll shoot upper 40s, but I think we got a chance to shoot, mid to for sure lower 40s from three. And if you do that, again, we'll have nights where we don't do that. But I think if we could do that, obviously that makes you tough to guard.
You mentioned Tyler Guyman for 21 points, 8 rebounds, 9 assists in the game against the Newman Jets. And we've joked about this. Again, Gene Castle can't find an on-record triple-double. And I was on triple-double watch. And maybe I'll give him the radio announcer's jinx. But and I asked him, I go, did you kind of know that? And he goes, you don't know it, but you know it just because of, one, the points it's up on the scoreboard when it comes to points. But he's like, I knew I was close in rebounds because I grabbed a bunch of them, and assists, I'm dishing them out left and right. I mean, 21, 8, and 9. I mean, that's absurd numbers.
Yeah,
like that's not like 21, 8, and 9. That's a career game for somebody. He's averaging 18, 6, and 8. I mean, that's almost like every day at the office.
Yeah, you almost a lot of times after practice, I'll compliment a guy that kind of stood out. And it's funny, I'll go a couple weeks without saying anything about him, and we'll talk as coaches in the office, and he's dominant every day. So you sort of take it for granted, which I shouldn't. But in the games, he's just a player that he does what you need to do to win, but he impacts the game on so many different levels. He can score it, starting to shoot the ball really well, obviously dishing out assists, and he rebounds the ball really, really well, about as well for a guy his size as I've ever seen. And I don't care about stats. I don't really get into stats, but I did peek at the stat sheet later in that game because of the lead we had, and I wondered where he was at. And I'm never going to play a guy to get stats or get to a certain point. I'm just not going to do that. And we were up by so much that I had to take him out the last 7 minutes of the game. But I did peek, I think, at the under 10 timeout. I looked just to see what it was, because I thought he might be close, and we've talked about it before. And he had a little ways to go in some stats. But again, he doesn't care about that. He just wants to win. And he's playing, like you said, playing really, really well.
Playing very, very well. And before we get to some other players, Tyler Guyman was the one who, I guess, put the cherry on top. Sports Center, top 10 play, Washburn Ichabod's.
Yeah.
Little pick and roll, pass to Jace. Jace, being the athletic 6'6" guy he is, saves it underneath the hoop to Jalen. Jalen, and looking at the video, kudos to the officials. Made the right call. His foot did not come down. And he's able to flip it behind his back, no look to Guyman. Guyman hits an NBA 3. Little Washburn Ichabod love on Sports Center.
Yeah, that was fun. I actually thought Jason maybe made the harder play because just complimented T.Y., but that pass wasn't his greatest pass. He kind of led him too far. And Jason kind of made a football play. He had to go get it, and he made a heck of a save. And then Jalen made a great hustle play. And then sometimes those things happen and you miss the shot, right?
Yep.
Like you get that wide open shot, or the guy makes like a great behind the back pass out to a 3-point shot or whatever, and then they miss a shot. But yeah, that was cool. And it was just funny how things happen. But Jalen had Jalen Lewis's grandfather had unfortunately passed that week, and he had attended the funeral on Friday. That's why he didn't start Saturday, just because he had missed practice. And so I thought that was cool that he made ESPN with the week that he had. Not that makes up for anything, but I was happy for him that he got a little recognition.
It's always nice to get a little Ichabod love on SportsCenter. It's always a good thing. We're talking with head coach Brett Ballard of the 17th ranked Washburn Ichabods, 4-0 on the season. They take on Rogers State coming up at 3:30 on Saturday here in Claremore, Oklahoma.
I actually joked with the guys, Jake. We almost made SportsCenter twice because at the end of the game, old boy from Newman took off and almost punched on 2 dudes from our team at the very end. I don't know if you remember that play, but number 2 out of nowhere just came down the lane, and with about 15 seconds left, our freshman Zim Russ. So I joked with the guys in film. I showed them Jay Lou's clip, and then we put that on there. So we almost made SportsCenter 2 times in 1 week. We had the number 9 play, and I said this would have been number 1 if he finished that dunk, because he cocked it back and almost hammered on poor Zim, so the guys got a kick out of that. Luckily you missed it, but I said we almost made SportsCenter twice. We would have been number 9, and that would have been number 1.
That would have been. We're talking with head coach Brett Ballard. We'll get a quick time out here at Skinny Sports Bar and Grill. We'll finish things up previewing Rogers State here on your home for Washburn Athletics, Country 106.9.
Hi, my name is Hannah, and I like Chick-fil-A nuggets because they are made with love. It's kind of like if you want to go to your grandmother's house for dinner, it's going to be your real home-cooked meal. You can't go wrong with it.
Hey, y'all, I'm Maddie, and something I love about the Chick-fil-A nuggets is their gold color. It lets me know that I'm about to enjoy something hot and delicious. It's just comfort food. It feels good to eat.
Real guests paid for their testimonial.
Mr. Clean, Mr. Clean, Mr. Clean. Most people know that Mr. Clean Magic Eraser removes crayon and scuff marks from walls, but did you know it even cleans tough kitchen and bathroom messes that are sometimes tough to tackle? Just wet, squeeze, and erase gray soap scum on your bathtub. Erase cloudy hard water spots in your shower. Erase burnt-on stovetop messes. So for all your tough kitchen and bathroom messes, try Mr. Clean Magic Eraser.
Mr. Clean, Mr. Clean, Mr. Clean.
The big 94.5 Country presents Kicker Country Stampede. Also starring on the Senex main stage, Morgan Wallen.
Awesome. I'm need some whiskey.
Kicker Country Stampede, a 3-day camping and country music festival starring Luke Combs and Morgan Wallen. Kicker Country Stampede, June 24th through 26th at the Stampede Festival Grounds at Topeka, Kansas. Also starring Ashley McBride, Mitchell Tenpenny, The Roots and Boots Tour, and more. Ticket prices go up soon. Get them online now at countrystampede.com.
Capital City Country is 106.9. Make sure to follow us on Facebook for the latest on awesome promotions and contests. Plus, Country 106.9 will feature community events to get excited about. We'll give you the lowdown on special offers and deals from our partners to help save you some money. Click that like button for Country 106.9 on Facebook. The new capital city of Facebook is Country 106.9.
KTPK Topeka, Country 106.9.
Welcome back to Skinny Sports Bar and Grill, located at the corner of Huntoon Gage here in the capital city of Kansas. Can come on out. They got the ACC Big Ten Showdown right now. Florida State taking on Indiana right now, as well as Georgia Tech and Nebraska. Because we all think Big Ten, ACC, we think Georgia Tech and Nebraska, right, Coach?
Yeah, exactly. Well, and the replay of the Creighton KU games on in here, too. So if you missed that yesterday, you can come down and check out that
Did
replay.
you check that out? I mean, the good old 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
Well, we practiced early yesterday because of final schedule.
Oh, that's true.
So we went at 11. So I was in the office and had that on. So I actually caught probably 50-60% of it just in between working, and thought it was a good game. I thought both teams played well. Creighton's got a nice team, and they're really good. I thought KU played pretty good and played with good energy and back and forth game. That was a big time game.
Yeah, finals week. Sometimes it can be good, sometimes it can be bad. How are we going right now?
So far, it was okay. I thought Tuesday's practice wasn't our best, and I told the guys, I said it's a little bit understandable this week. Midweek of finals, and I know you guys are bogged down with your academics. we were off today, and then we'll get after it Thursday and Friday, and then leave for Rogers. I told them, though, we got to come back and have 2 great practices Thursday and Friday, and I think we will. But so far, guys, they're fine. They've handled it fine. Practice wasn't horrible Tuesday. I just didn't think it was at the level that we're normally at.
The mentality right now of the players, is it feeling all right? Can you gauge that with kind of finals week and still having to quarantine, and again, it's not quarantine, but be careful, because you can't just be wiling out right now like normal. Are they still doing all right? Because every time I hear a big time coach like Coach Self mentioned this the other day about the mental capacity of what this is doing on the players.
Yeah, I think so, Jake. It's sometimes I think you feel one way as a coach, and you pull that curtain back, and sometimes you're surprised after the fact about what players tell you or how they're feeling. We talk about it quite a bit, and I feel like our guys are in a pretty good spot. I try to kind of break things down to them in increments throughout the season. So, even to start this week, I said, listen, fellas, if we can just get through this week, get through finals week, got a game Saturday. I said, then we only got 1 week left after that, and then you guys get a break, and you need a break. I said, you get to go home. So for you freshmen, for you younger guys, it'd be great to get a week off and go home. So I said, we just got to get through this finals week, and then I said, we'll be excited about that next week, because we got 2 home games, and then after the game, next Saturday, a week from this Saturday, they get to go home. So I feel like again, how we played last week, I was happy about, because I thought we showed a lot of poise. I worried taking that KU game midweek that we would come out flat against Newman. I really thought we would.
You need to play KU every Thursday.
Yeah. Well, two good things about playing KU. One, they're so long and athletic that I think it makes you more comfortable against MIAA teams. And 2, every single guy gets a haircut when you play KU, because they know the game's going to be on ESPN. So we actually look pretty decent right now as a group. So I would like to schedule KU again sometime midwinter, so our guys will clean up a little bit.
Speaking of looks, I have not seen a coach wear a suit this year. Is this COVID attire from coaches? You always look very dapper. Your staff and Coach Buckets and Jonathan Rainey. I know he's never been a coach with you wearing a suit, but you guys like to wear suits. No suits. Is that going to be a trend that will continue, or do you think this is just a COVID thing?
I don't know. Some coaches in the league are still wearing suits. Just watch them on film. So far, the ones that we played haven't, but some are still doing that, which is fine. We went to it kind of because of no fans and COVID, and the NBA bubble. I think the NBA guys are maybe going to go to that pant and quarter zip look or polo look.
Yeah.
I don't know, Jake, if I'll go back to suits. I don't know. I am just so much more comfortable. It's kind of silly, to be honest with you, that we coach in suits. It's kind of silly that baseball managers wear a baseball uniform, but football guys have kind of figured it out that, you want to look nice on the sideline, but it's not like they wear suits anymore. I don't know. I'm sure some fans would maybe
in my day.
Yeah, you get that, but I don't. I be honest with you. If I had to tell you right now, this year we'll continue to do it, but next year, while I go back to suits, I would tell you right now, I don't know. I would say we probably stay with what we're doing.
Well, with what you're doing right now, it's working. You're 4-0. You take on a Rogers State team. This team, really good last year. Finished second in the league last year. They graduated a bunch of guys. They lost 4 guys off of last year's team, but they still returned 3 starters, and they can go. I mean, no question about it. This is a much better team than maybe what you'd think because of who they lost last year. And right now they're 1-3, but here are their games. They lost by 6 to Southern. That came down to the final minute. They lost to Western in overtime and lost to Northwest by just 6. This is a good basketball team.
Yeah, they played probably, one of the toughest schedules in the country when you look at that. I mean, Northwest is number 1. West is a very good team. Southern's always good. Pitt, is a good MIAA team. So I don't think the record, indicates how good this team is. They did lose some really good players, but, Coach Barkley does a nice job. They're solid every year. Obviously had a good first year in the MIAA last year, and they play hard. And, I look at the team, they're going to play, these teams get a little bit desperate now when you start losing some games early. You come out with a little extra chip on your shoulder. Our guys have to be ready for a battle.
Wish you the best of luck. Will you guys be watching any movies on the way down there, or is everybody just on their phone, just like assistant coach Erica Yoder said?
They're on the phones, but so real quick, we some of these buses have satellite now.
Yeah.
We didn't have a satellite going to Hayes and Kearney, but we bussed over to KU the other day. We had satellite on. I said, this is nice. We got a 20-minute trip and we get the satellite for this, but not for the. So I'm hoping a lot of times we get the satellite, we can watch some games. Usually we have some games on. Some guys will catch that, but yeah, not many anymore. They're on their phones.
Best of luck.
Thanks, Jake.
That is head coach Brett Ballard of the Washburn Ichabods. That'll do it here for the Washburn Coaches Show live from Skinny Sports Bar and Grill. 1:30, 3:30 tip-offs coming from Claremore on Saturday. We will talk to you then here on your home for Washburn Athletics.